Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to this episode of Two Girls, One Doc.
One Doc.
It's your girl, Beedie.
It's Foren's the Foodie.
And we are back with another episode.
We're back. Yes.
Look at that.
I actually watched this one with my husband. It was just so funny.
I can imagine.
To have his running commentary.
Before we get into that, I'm drinking today.
Okay, what are you drinking?
Huh?
What are you drinking?
Oh, so basically, yeah. Now, I don't want to live in the past, okay? But once upon a time on this podcast, someone who is not me said that it's impossible. You can't just put things together and call it a cocktail, yeah? And I argued that that's exactly what a cocktail is. Someone one day pushed it together and they named it. So today I have created a cocktail. If it exists already, no, it doesn't, okay? And I call it, what did I name it again? I call it the Beedie's Applerita Spritz. Okay. You're wondering, what the hell is that? I'm about to tell you, okay? Look at your face. Look at you. You are ready to say some shit, okay?
Just to say what it is.
I am going to say what it is. So it's apple juice up to about here, yeah? And then a little bit of, the Costco Margarita mix. It has to be that one. They're not paying me, but it has to be that one. A little bit of that, just a smidge, a splash, and then you top it up with lemonade. Now, I use Schweppes in it because I'm a bad bee.
This sounds like type 2 diabetes in a glass.
Well, you can call it that too, but I call it the Beedie's Applerita Spritz. Now, I actually didn't try, and then you have to put one ice cube, but my ice cube is melted. So I, haven't tried it because I wanted to try it on air so you can get an accurate.
Okay,
are you ready?
Gold. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mind you, we're recording at 11 o'clock.
It's 12 o'clock somewhere. It's nearly 12 o'clock here.
And that is why I did not drink.
Yeah,
I actually had a drink ready.
But you can make it, first of all, you can do what you like in it, you're grown. But you can make it non-alcoholic. You just don't put the margarita bit. And also, with the margarita bit, you have to put just a splash of that Costco thing because that thing is strong.
That Costco margarita is sugary as hell, as is.
Yeah, but that's why you have to add the apple to give it some health.
The apple juice is pure sugar.
No, but that's lemon. So you have apple, you have lemon. That's 2 of your 5 a day, actually. So let's all be very serious here, okay?
Okay, I feel like I just entered a type 2 diabetic coma hearing this drink, but
God forbid.
But you know what? If you like it, I'm gonna taste it and then eventually I'll love it.
No, it's fine. You don't have to. I like it enough for the both of us.
No, do you know what it is? Also, I feel like I've just kind of gone off.
Oh, we've heard. I don't really like sweet things. We've heard. Your palate has matured. What more do we need?
Do you know what it is? It's just I don't like the way sugar feels on my
teeth. We know. Yeah. You should have to brush it straight away. We know. They know. Everyone knows. No one's forced you to drink it. I'm just sharing my wonderful creation.
No, and you know what? We appreciate it. You said you liked it.
I do.
Fine. Why didn't you make one of the cocktails from the book I gave you?
So basically, for context, Foren's got me like a little I had like cocktails. It was like 6 different like cocktail thingies and also a recipe thing. Yeah, but what I want to do,
personalized with your own cocktail
and with my face on it, which was the best part. So I have decided that when I achieve like the things on my bingo card, I'm gonna have them as like a treat. So like every time I achieve something, so I'm like, great, I can have one of these things. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm,
fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. Thought I forgot about you.
Okay. No, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I actually had a drink ready, but
what drink did you have?
It was an Aperol Spritz. But when we
made it or it came like that?
It came in a can. I was going to talk about it.
Oh, in a can.
Yeah, I was going to talk about it.
Do you know what? I actually like Aperol Spritz now.
So I was going to talk about it, but then when we decided we were going to record in the morning, I was like, yeah, no. Because life is hard. If I start drinking at 11, then it's a slippery slope.
I mean, yeah, Aperol Spritz is a lot. Obviously, mine is just a dash, and there's barely any alcohol in there, so I will be fine. But I actually, speaking of Aperol Spritzes, I used to hate Aperol Spritz because obviously they're not very sweet. They just have that weird aftertaste thing that I don't really like. But actually, also I like red wine in it, so I'm growing. But I've had some really good ones. When I went to Italy, I had a really good one, and I was like, wow, this is some shit.
No, Aperol Spritz is... like I'm gagging.
It's that time of year for it though, isn't it?
It's that time of year. Yeah, it's coming. I can taste it with the alfresco lunch.
Inside outside dining. So today we are doing a documentary called Sins of the Parents, The Crumbley Trials. This is available to watch on Disney Plus. That's where we watched it.
Yeah.
So I guess also Hulu. I don't know. You know how they have a thing. Overall views of the documentary. What did you think?
I didn't like it.
Okay, how come?
I think there was a lot they could have done with it. So I just felt like it was kind of shot like, I wouldn't say a reality TV show because that's not really apt. It was like a more serious version of The Office. And I just would rather they had... Okay, maybe I would rather the documentary came out after everything was done. And it was
So you wanted it to be less real time and more like a recapping of the events?
Yeah, because a lot of the real time conversations they were having just seemed like filler.
So...
And you had to pick out what was actually... Like, at some point, they were talking about some woman whose husband didn't eat the salad she made him. Like, I don't give a heck.
No, okay. So, for context, yeah, this documentary is about parents who go to trial for their son's school shooting, yeah? And it's really big because it's an unprecedented case. Parents have never been charged before. And so the documentary is from the prosecution side, yeah? It's kind of showing how they're preparing their case. And it's filmed over the course of like 2 years. So that kind of explains what Forensic is saying in terms of you kind of see them at work. You see them discussing motions to bring and like, you know, who they should... interview or whatever, put on the stand, all that kind of stuff. You kind of see it in real time. And so maybe, I mean, I liked it because I thought it was a really interesting take on what would typically be a true crime documentary. We're sitting down, we're looking at the camera, this thing happened. And I think because it was less about like the crime that was committed, obviously that played a huge factor, but it was more about, okay, we have put his parents on trial. Are they going to be found guilty? So I get why they did it the way they did it. I think it worked for that. The salad bit, yeah, it's like a camera crew following them around. So yeah, it was very much like Real Housewives sort of vibes because we're seeing her get ready to go to the office and stuff, and so they're following her around and talking about. And that part, especially that scene, I was like, this didn't have to be in there. Like, I'm sure that there were other like, you know, like
fillers,
other bits you could have put in there, but yeah, so that part was kind of weird. But I did enjoy it. I did think that it was a really good take on what would typically just be like, oh, my son did this and this happened and this person died, blah 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 blah. They didn't really focus that much on like him. I mean, they did obviously like by way of him being the shooter, but anyway.
I found it weird that they kept calling him, like sometimes they'd call him by name, then they would refer to him as the shooter. I wonder what that was about.
Yeah, I feel like part of me was like, oh, maybe it's because they just don't want to make it about him. But it's impossible because it is about him. Because if not for his actions, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, 100%.
So this documentary opens up with not just a water tank, but also a police call. Those are two true crime documentary tropes that are like up there, yeah? You see the water tank, drone view, and then you hear 911, what's your emergency? Oh, my son, da-da-da. It's like literally all the things.
All the things.
And we are in Michigan. This whole thing takes place in Michigan. The mum, Jennifer Crumbley, is on the stand basically talking about how like normal their family was. Like they went skiing, they cut down their own Christmas tree, they grew their own pumpkins. Like, and you know, yeah, I don't know, have you seen Adolescence yet on Netflix?
No, I'm saving it for when I go to get my hair done.
Girl. Anyway, so I can't talk too much about it, but it reminded me of Adolescence. I really wish you had seen it because it'd be so good to talk about it. Anyway, if you've seen Adolescence, you'll understand why I say that. So
I mean, I've seen, I know the synopsis,
the premise.
So I get, I get why it is similar.
Yeah,
but
obviously I just can't speak the way that I really wanted to. But it's fine. We'll move on. So Jennifer basically says like, oh, as a parent, you know, you think about protecting your kids from danger, but not your kid being the danger. Yeah, and I feel like this is an amazing point to make because most people are like, oh, the world is such a terrible world. The world is not safe. Like blah 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 blah. What about you, your kid? Will your kid be part of making the world safe or not?
Is he the problem?
Is he the problem? Do you know what I mean? I that terrifies me. The thought of like having a kid and that kid being trash. Like, because what do you do? I mean, in this situation, like there wasn't much that they could do. But like, what if like your kid just ends up
done everything? I think
it's like, remember we did that episode about the footballer Fraudster, and he came from money. Like his parents, he had a good house. Like his parents had a good job. He had every opportunity, and he still was going out defrauding people. So
you'd send them to boarding school in Nigeria.
They'll come back worse. They'll come back equipped with the tools to be worse.
Yeah, I don't know. It is something that oftentimes like I think about, but I generally say, well, the precedent, as far as I've seen in my family, is that we've all turned out all right. So my own wouldn't be different, but you can never tell. And it may not even be like nature versus nurture, that debate. It may not even be anything you do. That child literally fundamentally may just be a certain
but then
way.
also, this is why I mentioned adolescence, right? Because like you can do everything in your power, but now the outside influences are so much more because of the internet and social media. So before, okay, cool, maybe they go to school, there's a bad kid at school, and you're like, hey, you don't want them to be friends with that kid, but they come home, they go to church, they chill in all the circles that you're aware of. But now your kid could be upstairs joining a far right group, you don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly,
and you think because they're in their house they're safe.
For me, I don't want to be a helicopter parent, but I'm not going to expose my kids to like social media as much as possible.
I'm hoping that by the time we get to having kids, or our kids are old enough to be like, you know, conscious, of all that kind of stuff, that it would have done a full circle back round to, okay, no, social media is bad.
Because like we're having more conversations about why, you know, we were just talking about people who have their kids like on on channels and things like those conversations are happening now, and people are starting to see that social media is this new thing that's come out, and kind of like with vaccines, you don't always know the long-term effects. We're starting to see some of the long-term effects as is. And
the effects of people just being exposed to social media,
exactly,
as opposed to us who had both.
I saw some LinkedIn posts, again, I haven't watched Adolescence, but someone was talking about, since Adolescence, obviously the conversation around people like Andrew Tate. And then the guy was like, but we also need to look at the other side, like Bonnie Blue and Lily. And I was just like, do you know what? Men are so annoying. Like, sometimes...
What are we actually talking about?
Just talk, like... Andrew Tate is fucking trash. That's the topic of conversation. Just let's talk about that.
No, but in both things, the target audience is boys, little boys or men. So with Bonnie Blue, like, girls aren't out here. Well, the vast majority of girls, I'm sure, aren't out here like, I want to be...
but it just... that I agree with, because again, but that... And obviously, as you can imagine, that wasn't even the premise of what he was saying. He was trying to say that they are influencing women to think this is the way to live their life. But what really annoyed me was just that, like, if a conversation is ever being had about a man that's problematic,
they deflect.
These fucking stupid men have to find a way to bring in women. Like, just...
It's like, why am I in it? No, I saw this TikTok this morning, actually, of this woman who basically was talking about de-pilling her son. So she basically was just like, how one time her son was like, like, women are all gold diggers anyway. And she kind of was like, had to have that conversation, like, okay, so like, of all the women that you know, which of them are gold diggers? Like, and I think, and this is not like, there's so much to be said about conversations with people who are like extreme in their views, in terms of like, if your son says to you, women are gold diggers anyway, you want to be like, shut your fucking mouth, you dumb bitch, what are you talking about here? I feel like when you approach it with that kind of like, are you dumb kind of thing, you're pushing them closer to what their ideology is, right? But the way she reasoned with him was like, all right, cool, let's literally think about it. Like, of the women that you know, how many are gold diggers? But I don't mean people, I mean generally. But then it can't be general though, if you can't even name one person,
one single person.
And just like men with money want to spend that money on people that they care about. So do those people that you're looking at, do they look like they've got gold to dig?
And I just think, honestly, whenever those of us that like want to be parents become parents and stuff like that, the reality of the situation is we can't approach parenting the way our parents did, which was
the world is different.
Like you don't talk about sex, you don't talk about that. You actually have to sit down.
You have to talk about everything. You have to talk about everything. They need to hear it from you, because they will actually hear it from somewhere else. It's not like it's not like in secondary school where like someone has an older sibling and the older sibling showed them something and then everything gets... No, it's not like that. I can literally be in my room and I can find out everything. And I feel like there's like a level of like media illiteracy that, I mean, even our generation have and younger generations have now, because it's like you don't even know how to check the source. You just watch something and you believe it, as opposed to being able to say, hey mum, I heard this thing, what is it true, is it not? Like,
listen, for me, my kids are gonna hate to see me coming, because I'm going to be so like, I don't want to use the word controlling, but I'm really going to monitor the stuff they consume online. Like, I'm going to, like, technology is going to be for school, like, only. Like, even, like, stuff like hair, makeup.
Yeah.
Like, when I'll be on my way to work, I will see, like, girls with, like, full face beat.
It's the hair one for me, you know. Like, I was at work one time and then I had a patient, this girl, she must have been, like, I don't know, 13, 14 or something, full lace bust down. I said, girl... Like, the thing is, times have changed, innit? So things are different, yeah? But it just makes me feel like, oh, what happened to having your little cornrows on the side and your quiff and your little bun? Like, what happened to that side? Like, how did we jump? How did we jump to full lace?
You are going to be okay with your braids and you're not going to die. Because you're
even
not
pick and drop, you'll do.
For real, like you're not. There are so many nice braided styles.
Yeah.
You are going to be. I'm not saying you have to do the flipping, the one we used to do that wasn't even knotless. Just
the knots.
I'm not saying that, but you are going to be okay with your braids.
And you'll love yourself, babe. You'll look good. You'll look great.
You're gonna love yourself. You're not gonna wear makeup to school. You're not gonna get your nails done. Like despite all of those things, you're gonna be well rounded and you're going to be fine. And you will find people who are sensible and aligned with you at this. Because for me, it's not even a thing of like, oh, girls are maturing fast. I'm fast. I didn't think like that.
No, I don't think that.
I just more think that it's a distraction. Waking up in the morning, my mum used to say it, and I didn't used to get it until maybe I started working, and then I saw it for myself. I don't know, but the time you spend in the morning doing your makeup, that's time you can be doing something else to be more productive.
I mean, I agree with that too, but also I just want my kids to be like content with themselves. Like I want them to love themselves as they are. Do you get what I mean? I don't want it to be
I can't use that argument when I wear makeup.
No, yeah, but just because you wear makeup doesn't mean you don't love yourself. I'm just saying that like at that age, I feel like there needs to be a point where like you're content with as you are. Like I feel like people have, don't you remember when we went to college, there was this girl who always used to wear makeup all the time. And then one time I saw her about makeup and I was like, whoa, like that's insane. And that's because she was going through it. Yeah. So I don't want it to be a thing where it's like they rely on anything, whether that's makeup, hair, nails, whatever, to feel like they're pretty. That's my reasoning for it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think one, it's sending a negative message anyways at a young age if you feel like you constantly need to be made up to feel pretty. That's one element. The other element is this is not your priority at this age. And it's just that simple. As draconian as it may sound, makeup and stuff like that should not be your priority. You have like other fish to fry, and that doesn't mean it has to be school books. It could just be you as an individual coming into your own, figuring out who you are. All of those things are more important than spending hours in the room like doing your makeup. I
understand why it's that way now though, because you're on YouTube. That like there's no teenage anymore.
There's no teen.
It's literally
like
it's like
erosion.
Baby Shark, and then it's whatever. Sea girls. Like there's no in between. Do you get what I mean? So they obviously like if we grew up now, we wouldn't be doing up hair shop lip gloss. We'd be trying to get Fenty. We'd be trying to get Danessa Myricks. You know what I mean? We'd be trying to get, because now we're aware of all these things. And okay, the people who I don't know. We could talk about it for ages, but yeah. That's just the I don't know. I just having a kid. There's just so many things. Like people think, oh, you have a baby, yeah. You have a baby. You have a 10-year-old. You have a 13-year-old. You have a 25-year-old. You have a 30-year-old. Like it just doesn't end.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't end at all.
It just doesn't end.
Yeah.
But so Ethan Crumbley, he is the school shooter. He goes to school one day and he shoots pupils in his school. He's just on a rampage, right? He shoots and kills 4 people. Hannah St. Juliana, who's 14, Madison Baldwin, who's 17, Justin Schilling, who's also 17, and then Tate Meyer, who is 16. And then we meet Karen McDonald. She is the DA prosecuting the case. So she's the one that we're kind of following in this whole like reality TV style, because we're trying to see her and her team and how they're preparing for their case. So it's November 26th, 2021. It's 4 days before the shooting. And the dad, James Crumbley, buys his son Ethan a gun. And Ethan posts about it on social media. Go ahead.
Mind you, this family, and no shame to anyone's game, life is hard, I get it. But they're financially struggling, right?
Who is it?
The dad is doing DoorDash, right? So that's like, for British people, that's like Uber Eats or whatever, or delivery. So it's not like, oh, you're a millionaire or whatever. Like they're trying to get by. Yeah. Everyone is. Fine.
This isn't a priority spent.
When I saw the receipt for that gun, $500 and something.
That's insane. I don't know how much I thought a gun would be. I thought it'd be like £200 the way everybody has one.
No, I also equally used to think it would be quite cheap, but it's actually really expensive. And it just shows you how like stupid people in that country can be, because people who own these guns, some of them are struggling financially, and this is where you put your money, like to buy a gun for your kids, for
your son. Yeah. And also like,
not even for you as an adult to say, okay, for protection, or this is a hobby that you've saved up for your kid that's how old.
It almost seemed like they just wanted to silence him, like, all right, cool man, fuck it, take the gun kind of thing, because
it just seems like they're stupid.
Yeah, no, but that's what this whole documentary is highlighting. They're stupid, they should go to jail. So the day before the shooting, a teacher sees Ethan researching ammunition and he emails his mum, right? And then his mum messages him, and we see the text messages, and the tone of her message, like, come on man, really, like, and then she doesn't really take it seriously. She's like, well, like, I'm not mad, just like be more careful, don't get caught. For researching bullets for a gun you just bought him. fine. Even if you think, okay, cool, he's just excited about the gun, he wants to go to the gun range, fine. Anyway.
Sorry, but can I just say though, I think, and I'm not American, but I have a lot of family in America, and I go to America quite regularly. So I feel like I've been exposed to the culture live and direct a lot, and I've never agreed with
the gun stuff.
The gun stuff. It has never ever in my life.
The right to bear arms, though. It's in the Constitution.
Girl. Constitution that was created because we're afraid the Brits were going to come and
Constitution.
We are so far removed from that. There is no need for people to bear arms. Yeah. Okay, but whatever.
But now there is, and then the need continues because everyone else has bought arms. So how can you not be bearing the same arms? So then it just continues in a cycle.
I get why it's a cycle. What I don't get is why it hasn't been abolished. But that's a conversation for a different day. But I think for me, obviously you hear about school shooters and this and that and the third. But I think for me, this scene was so jarring because I think about the times when I was like a teen and my parents bought me something and I was so excited. So one thing that comes to mind, and maybe I was a bit younger than a teen, I think I was like maybe 10, 9. They bought me like a Groovy Chick sticker maker.
I love Groovy Chick. I had Groovy Chick bed sheets.
I had all the Groovy Chick stuff. You'd put the paper in, you'd kind of select, you'd do a little something, and the sticker would produce. And I'd stick it everywhere. I was so excited. I couldn't wait. It came with the makeup, but then you had to buy something separately. So then my mum was like, okay, if you do this, this, and this, we're going to get... I was excited. That is the excitement somebody is feeling to buy bullets. Yeah. Bullets can kill.
Yeah.
Bullets can kill. Or if you think about your first car, when I got my first car, the excitement to buy all the accessories... Like, bullets can kill. You are excited to buy an accessory to something that can kill another human being as a teenager in high school.
And knowing that your intention is to kill other people. It's not even like, it's like, oh, I'm so fascinated by guns.
Even if it wasn't to kill, it's scary to me that you're excited for that. Like, I feel like I have always wanted to go to a shooting range just to experience like what it is. But then obviously when you start hearing about people killing people in shooting ranges, and the fact that I thought that before I actually fully knew what it was, I thought it was like you go into a secure room, the person next door can just turn and... No, like the thought of holding a gun to me now is scary.
Yeah.
What more? Like, nah.
Yeah. At first, like, it seems weird that the prosecution are charging the parents, but the evidence actually shows that they were negligent. So that's the whole point. The point is, you guys were negligent. You guys were not on your P's and Q's, and therefore your son was allowed to take this gun and kill people, right? So there's this image that he draws of not just a gun, but the gun that he was bought. He draws that on his homework, and he says...
He didn't answer any of the questions.
No, of course not. He said what he wanted to say. And what he wrote, instead of answering the questions, was, the thoughts won't stop. Help me. Blood everywhere. And so his parents have to come in because they call the parents like, yeah, what the fuck, yeah. And they tell them to like take him home. Meanwhile, mind you, this is the day of the shooting, okay? Mm-hmm. So his mum messages him basically saying like, oh, so basically they come in and then they have a talk. We see them on CCTV or whatever. Ethan decides like, no, he wants to stay. The parents go back to work. The parents almost seem like, oh, this is long, man. Like, I've got things to do. And the thing is, I get it, yeah? Like, you're working, finances are hard, you don't really want to miss a time off work, whatever. Your son's being a bit long. It's like, fam, are you fine here? Cool. I feel like some people use schools as like babysitters, like, this is your problem, yeah? Anyway, after this meeting, the mum texts him saying, you can talk to us about anything, blah, blah, blah. 9 minutes later is when he starts shooting people. So, fast forward now, the parents get charged. What do? They flee. At this point, I said, what is going on in the House of Commons? Like, what is happening? Your child has killed 4 people, yeah? They've charged you, you fled. Do you feel like you're being painted in a good light by fleeing?
I just think it's so ridiculous because you are a parent and your son has killed his classmates. At the very least, even if you feel like you've done nothing wrong, you shouldn't be charged. Think about those parents.
Exactly.
You're fleeing.
Exactly.
Guilty as fuck, lock them up.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, we didn't even need the trial.
We did not need the trial.
So the prosecution argue that his parents encouraged his gun use and their negligence led to the shooting. Agree.
Yeah.
His mum also lies to the police. We see like body cam footage and she's like, oh, he's never done anything wrong, as if he was like some perfect kid. Babe, that very day they said, hey, these are the signs. Like, what the hell? Also,
She could have just shut her mouth.
She should have shut it and kept it closed.
Fine.
It also comes up that Jennifer was having an affair. So at this point, I was like, imagine your son kills 4 people at school, yeah? And now we're here on Disney Plus discussing that you were having an affair and that you bought a horse when you were drunk that you can't afford.
I mean, I did talk to... My husband and I were talking about this, about if we felt like it was fair. I mean, that's why I love American court cases, because they are salacious.
Anyone can get it.
The UK could never, but... I don't know, I'm in two minds about this, because it's a dangerous precedent to set.
What?
Like...
This whole thing or the affair thing?
No, the affair thing, bringing that up as part of the evidence, because you can then say that about anything an adult does or a parent does that isn't solely child focused.
I disagree. Do you know why? Because having an affair, yeah, you are taking the time out to have that affair. Like, it's not like...
But you can say that about having a hobby.
No, of course you can. No, of course you can. But having an affair, it's like, oh, you're putting this random... And you're not even loyal to your marriage. How are you meant to be loyal to your child?
That has nothing to do with it.
With a hobby, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm decompressing. We're having a hobby. With an affair,
but that is their decompression.
No, of course, I'm not saying that it's not. But I'm just saying that with an affair, yeah, it speaks to your character or your perceived character. So they were trying to I feel like the prosecution were trying to Trojan horse it in as, oh, you're not spending time with your child. But really, what they were doing was saying because that Karen woman was mad judgmental. I can't lie. Like, she was very, very judgmental, and I think she just didn't rate them. Like, if this was an upper class family, I don't think she would have probably done the same thing, but I don't think she would have moved. She had a certain like contempt for them.
Yeah, she did.
But anyway, I think they brought the affair thing in because it's like, look at the kind of person this is. And that's what you do in the court of law. I want to decimate your character, and that's why
I
they
agree
did
with
that.
you, because it's all about what's the picture you paint to the jury at the end of the day. It's not even about most court cases. It's actors.
It's the story that you tell. Who told the best story?
And whilst I agree that in terms of painting a picture, like, all hats off, but do I think that it should have been admissible? No. And I'm not saying that I agree with cheating, by the way. I don't agree with cheating. I do think it's a good representation of your character. But when you're talking about, okay, does that make someone a negligent parent because they cheated? I don't think that's a fair statement.
I think that
which is the picture they're trying to paint.
No, I get that.
And I don't think that was fair.
I think for me, if I'm a child and like my parent is spending time with their lover, yeah, instead of with me, I'm gonna feel away. I feel like
but that instead of is very presumptuous, because the likelihood is your parent that's cheating is spending time with the lover instead of your dad. Probably not you. How many times do you see people, I mean, men are different, but let's specifically talk about women, because men don't love their families regardless. Men cannot love their families, but women, how many women do you see that cheat on their husbands and then they don't have a love or a care for their parents? I think these two are negligent for other reasons.
Yeah.
Sorry, for their kids. I think these two were negligent for other reasons, but I don't think her affair was what made her negligent.
I don't think her affair is what made her negligent. And like I said, I think
it's relevant.
I think they just brought it in to basically like cut at her character,
Yeah,
and also
I
fuck up the base.
do.
I think also like between them, like just the whole family caused dissension in the camp, basically. But yeah,
if I was a judge, I would have said that it's absolutely not relevant, because for me, not that I see an affair as a hobby, but
you basically are saying that the time that she spent with her lover would not have been the same time that she spent with her child.
Yeah, like if I was going to cheat and I had a kid, I would cheat in the time that maybe I would start saying to my husband, oh, like, I can't go on trips or I can't go on this. I'm still going to make bedtime. I'm still going to,
I think that they use that, especially, and you mentioned the hobby thing as well, because they used the horses thing as well, because obviously they bought the horses that they couldn't afford. And they're like, oh, you were spending time with the horses and you were spending time with the thing. If Ethan didn't do what he did, then there's no way you could say, oh, you had an affair and your child's fucked up, because the child wouldn't have been fucked up. But because her child did what she did, it's like every little thing. It's like, you brush your teeth for 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes. That extra minute you could have actually been spending with your...
I agree. They're painting a picture,
the point. Yeah, exactly.
But I just felt like, I don't think it's relevant, but I get it.
Yeah, it's America.
The horses is relevant because that money you could have used it to give him therapy.
Yeah, but maybe she wouldn't have used it. Maybe there's other money that she was going to use for therapy, and that money she was going to use for... Do you see what I mean? Like, what we say? That's what I mean. That money the horse money she was going to use for something else anyway, and the therapy money she could have used, but she didn't. Do you get what I mean? So nothing is anything. So we learned that there were signs for a long time from Ethan's like messages and diary and stuff. He has an entry where he says he can't wait to shoot up the fucking school. And I just feel like that's really explicit. And obviously we can't prove that his parents have seen that or not seen that, yeah. But obviously like looking into the mind of the shooter, yeah, it's like, that's crazy. Like what you were saying, you were so excited to print them Groovy Chick stickers, yeah. You were loving it, can't wait, yeah. Let's fucking have it, yeah. Ethan had that same excitement to kill people. Not just people, but like students in the school that you go to.
People that you've been, like, if I think about school, like from year 7 to whatever, like you have grown up with these people,
and you're all in the same. You're in the same phase of life. There's just something about school where like you're all just really trying to make it. You're all in this bubble. You're all together. You know, what are we going to choose for our
all
GCSEs?
In the exact
what are we
same.
Yes, you're all in the same vibe. Like it's the same. You guys are experiencing the same thing. You have something in common with each other. Do you know what I mean? You see each other all the time.
Crazy.
Like it's just insane. So one of the prosecutors is telling us that there are always signs, and there are always signs. Like we hear that he tortured animals, he decapitated a bird once, like it's just.
And this is why they are super negligent, because all of this stuff is known, so the parents must have known, and you did nothing.
But what do you do?
You take your kid to therapy, extreme therapy.
I feel like, you know that clip. And
you
I
make
hate
the
to
school
agree with
aware.
him, yeah. But that clip of Dr. Umar, okay, where he's like, some of these kids can't be rehabilitated. They need to go to sleep for good, okay? I feel like some of these kids, there's no saving them. And I think I mentioned it later, but it's like, what do you do when you see a murderous streak in your child? Is there somewhere, can we create maybe...
You have them institutionalized.
Yeah. Is there somewhere you can put them to kind of like rehabilitate or...
But if they go to therapy or they start going to those programs that can support them and they start saying that, I want to shoot up the school, they're going to have them sanctions anyways. And then they're not going to be out and about in the world.
Like
and
Dexter.
That's what you do as... Yeah,
they should have done something to Dexter. Dexter shouldn't have been allowed to, because if it really is the dark passenger, and there's really something in you that you can't control, then maybe now, maybe not now, maybe in 20, 40 years time, something will happen,
it's
right?
Gonna come out, yeah.
So like, what do we do with these people? You notice okay,
that's what you do.
You put them.
You don't just sit there and do nothing and then pretend.
No, I think that there's definitely a spectrum. They did nothing. Or they did nothing that was reported. And I feel like because this was a trial about them, had they done something, it would have come up.
Yeah.
So it really does seem like they did nothing.
They did nothing. I think for me, God forbid, but I would take my kids to get extreme. I would scream from the rooftops, my child needs help. How do I get help? Something isn't right.
And the right kind of help. Because with therapy,
even for myself, I love life. I'm not sleeping in the house with you.
Yeah.
It's a hop, jump and a skip between you killing that bird to killing me. So something go give and it ain't gonna be me.
It's insane. So anyway, at this point, the whole family's in jail. Okay, so I'm really happy that he didn't have a sibling, like, because that would have been fucked. Anyway, by the time we get to trial, they haven't seen or spoken to each other for like 6 months. Imagine your whole family goes to jail, you haven't spoken to your mom, your dad, your sisters for 6 months. I mean, this family, what are they discussing? This family is kind of fractured anyway, so I don't know. Well, I mean, they used to go skiing together and all that stuff, so I don't know.
That house was, when you talk about things that, I don't know if you're going to talk about this later, but when you talk about things that, for me, affect a kid, the state of that house...
Yeah, there was no structure. I feel like structure and routine is so important for children. So important. It's so important because I feel like without it, you kind of... Even me, at my big age, one thing about me, I'm going to write a list. I'm going to write a list of things I need to do and when I need to do them by, because I feel like then I have order, I have structure, I know where I'm going. It brings my anxiety levels down because it's like, okay, cool. If I just do this, this and this, fine. It removes the whole having to think and having to, what's going to... As a child, where you have very little control over your life, there needs to be some kind of structure, babe. Like that house was... Anyway, I mentioned it later. So at this point, we meet Steve Juliana. He's Hannah's dad. Hannah that died at the hands of Ethan. He says that he's a fraction of who he used to be, and this is just so sad because I'm glad that this part is in the documentary because I feel like it's important to show the impact or the gravity of his actions. We also meet her sister Raina, and she does this victim impact statement, and when I say my heart broke, she said instead of speaking at her wedding, I spoke at her funeral.
She literally was like, if I go and take her clothes, it doesn't matter. We can't even argue.
I'm telling you, if somebody killed my sister, I can't lie, do 2 for 1, because I can't lie. I can't actually. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but you have to take me as well, because what the fuck? Your sister went to school and she didn't come back.
Normal, and she didn't come back. I literally was like, all this talk is crazy because I'm killing you,
fam. You have to kill me too before I kill you. I'm sorry. One of us is not going to make it.
Be, I am going to kill you. Like, all of this talk at her funeral. Like, what do you mean?
My sister. Are you dumb? You killed my sister. I'm so sorry. I would have killed him and his parents. Everyone's got to go. Your lineage is done. It's done now. Are you insane?
It ends with you.
It ends with you. No. We also meet Justin's dad. So there was two of the students were in the bathroom, Justin and Keegan, and Justin died. That's Craig's son. Keegan was there, but he survived. And it's just really, really sad because one parent obviously lost their child, and the other one, your child is not the same person that they were when they went to school that day. Like, scenes like this really emphasize, like, mate, this is a big thing. So I know, and also the whole this whole documentary is propaganda, in it, because this whole documentary is like, yeah, like these men should go to jail for what they did. So all of these things really build up the emotions, because you're thinking, rah, if not for you being a shit parent, none of this. Do you know what I mean? So it all contributes to the message they're trying to send. But I mean, I agree with the message, so I'm here.
Yeah, this message is definitely.
It's received. I am the choir, and they are preaching. So it is now January 2024. Which is not, that was only last year.
Yeah, it was actually.
And it's time for Jennifer Crumbley's trial. So she has 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Now, Ethan has, because there was a point where they basically, when they were doing the whole discussion thing, they basically were talking about like, oh, we need to get Ethan to testify to kind of prove that like the gun wasn't locked away. That proves the negligence, blah, blah, blah. Ethan is already like, yeah, they didn't lock the gun away. Like, Ethan don't give a heck. Ethan don't give a fuck. Like,
Ethan hates his parents.
He hates everybody.
And do you know what? I don't blame him.
He hates himself. He hates everyone.
Yeah, he hates
I feel
everyone.
like he just needed like a friend. Like somebody.
He had friends though, because they even speak about he had friends.
Did he?
Yeah, he needed help. Professional help. It's not about friendship or this. He needed help.
But what would that help look like?
I told
No,
you.
but
like,
you're saying therapy. Like, what would need to happen in that therapy? Do you get what I mean? Because it's not like, oh, I have anxiety, like I'm a bit worried about things. It's like
he would have to talk about. He needs. That's the job of these people that can identify kids that are deeply troubled.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of therapy like I go to where you sit there and you say, "Oh, I'm feeling like this week." He would need someone to dig in to understand where this darkness is coming from, what the fuck is going on. And if it's that deep, he then could be put in a home for troubled kids.
But then with a view to what? As in to just store them so they stay there forever, or with a view to like let them out?
The view usually with those things is either in hopes that they can get the help that they need so that eventually like
they can be normal.
Some of the or I think what they do, could be wrong. Anyone from America comment, but I think they keep them till they're not able to till they're an adult, and then at that point like. Whatever that person chooses to do, you can't be held liable. And that, for me, I would be okay with that if that was my kid. I mean, I say I would be okay with that in the sense that it's what's best. Not that I wouldn't be sad or I wouldn't wish things were different, but that is what needs to happen. Like in these cases, you can't have somebody with such dark thoughts just roaming the streets.
Yeah.
I mean,
but then that's what will happen. If he becomes an adult and they're like, all right, cool, now you can't stay in this juvenile facility, well, then he's roaming the streets.
Unfortunately, we don't have death penalty in advance of
this is
crime.
What I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It's like something bad has to happen in order for them to get the help.
I'm sure science will get to a place where we can start to genetically screen the embryos.
Probably sooner rather than later. This world is going.
Literally. You can pick the gender. So
speaking of the mistress, well, Mister side piece is it a Mister when you're a man and you're a side piece?
Still a mistress.
The man is a mistress.
Still a mistress.
They call her mistress. Yeah. To the trial again.
He's a snake.
They say that they brought him to show that one, Jennifer told him that she was scared that Ethan would hurt himself, and two, that she was spending bare time with him all the time. Why would he? I mean, but I guess if they call you, you have to go. You can't be like, sorry, I'm not coming.
Yeah, you're subpoenaed, but you don't have to.
Well, you do. You have to do. You have to do. Do you know what I mean? We're gonna say I plead the fifth.
No, but it's mad. I mean, you can't. If you're subpoenaed, you do have to. Whatever.
What they asked him was, did Jennifer tell you anything about Ethan? Yeah, she told me she was scared of him.
Yeah, but that's your mistress or your master.
She probably is not the master. She might also be a sighting. Like maybe he's got his own thing going on, and now this has blown up the spot. Like
I guess, but still, you're a snake.
Yeah.
After all they
are snakes anyway because they're cheating. So Jennifer says that the counsellor gave Ethan the option to stay that day.
Would you not cheat on Mr.
James Crumbley?
I would cheat. I would have left
him. To be honest, he does seem like the kind of person
him.
that, like, if you cheated, he would take you back.
Yeah, I'd have left him. Like, I'm sorry to say, apparently he was bummy, and yeah, there's stuff he does later that's questionable. I'd have been left him.
Yeah.
Not to say that Jennifer's any
That's what I was going to say. They kind of seem equally yoked to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like people should be they should be together, all the equally, like, be with your
Yeah.
So so we spoke a bit about the counsellor being like, oh yeah, you know, take Ethan with you, but Jennifer's like, you know, the counsellor said you can take him with you or leave him here, and he chose to stay. She also says this bit where she's like, she regrets nothing but wishes that he killed them instead. And to me, it's like, you're really making this about you, sis. Like, it's almost like, oh, I wish this wasn't happening to me, he should have taken me instead. When it's like, if he didn't do what he did, none of this would be happening to you. So should your wish not be, oh, I really wish that none of this had ever happened?
I wish I had done something different.
Yeah, I wish I'd seen the signs. I wish I had acted.
Because even if you want to say that you didn't see the signs, then you could say, I wish I had seen the signs.
Yeah, exactly.
But to say,
I wish he'd killed me instead. Oh, woe is me, babe. Like, sort it out. Anyway, she's found guilty. And now it's time for James's trial. He's found guilty. Honestly, the whole James bit was literally like 5 minutes to the end. You wanted to mention what he did.
Yeah, so basically he was in, and he's a fucking idiot. He was in prison talking to his lawyer, basically saying that when he comes out, it's on site for the prosecutor. Are you stupid or are you dumb?
Both.
You're just perpetrating the same thing that got you in trouble. That was one. Two, there's this bit where I can't remember if it was Jennifer or James's trial. The lawyer comes out to do her opening statement, and she's like, "Oh yeah, on the way here." That's
in my crime.
On the way, okay.
No, say it.
On the way here, like I was listening to Taylor Swift. First of all, Taylor Swift questionable, and immediately she said that me and my husband simultaneously hissed. We kissed our teeth, and my husband was like, if this was my lawyer, I would fire her on the spot.
Because did you think that was going to land? She basically was like, there was one, basically, I don't know Taylor Swift song, but she was like, oh, I listened to Taylor Swift, and the song was called Truth or Lies, yeah? She was like, and I said to myself, is it the truth or is it a lie? That wasn't the song. I don't know her songs anyway. That wasn't the song, but that was the delivery. And I was like, tumbleweeds.
And literally, OK was like, because at the end of the day, once the minute your lawyer starts mentioning Taylor Swift, you already know you're going to lose. Yeah. So what's the point?
Did you think it was Swifties in the jury, babe?
It's the equivalent of like, there's a certain type of trouser you see your lawyer wearing and you know that you're going to jail.
That was very ridiculous.
Very stupid.
So James was found guilty. Whole family's in jail. The parents were both sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. There were lawsuits against the school, but they were dismissed. Ethan got life in prison without the possibility of parole. I think that's remarkable. Excellent. He needs to stay where he is. And so this is the bit where I was kind of like, I wonder if you can like preemptively lock people up. Like, have you read We Need to Talk About Kevin?
I haven't read it, but
you know the
I've
story.
Watched the movie.
Oh, the movie, fine. It's like at some, if he had been, I mean, do you know what I mean? You know?
But do you know what? I keep seeing these hot takes on TikTok about how the story is from the mum's point of view, but that there's a lot of stuff she did that if it was told from Kevin's point of view, there's a lot of stuff she did
that would justify,
not justify, but that she was emotionally abusive to him. I need to rewatch it. I might rewatch that today, actually.
Maybe I should watch it. I've only read the book.
That was not my hot take. And I was like, are people insane? Like, let's not always look for something. Yeah. Sometimes
it is what it is.
Sometimes people are birthing demons. Just like that boy in the UK that killed his whole family and was on his way to like kill kids at school.
Oh, yeah.
Like sometimes people give birth to demons and they think they've birthed a child. That's what it is. That there doesn't need to be
It's nothing more than
else.
that. Yeah, it's nothing more than
There's
that.
nothing more than you gave birth to a demon and you thought it was a child.
Yeah.
And that's not your fault. And that's okay.
I like this documentary. I liked the angle it took, and I really hope that it encourages more active parenting. I feel like and this is coming up in the episode we're doing next, but I feel like you don't just have a baby and that's it. You have to actively parent. And there's always, every once in a while, someone tweets, people without kids don't know how hard it is to look after kids, and they always want to judge. And every time someone tweets, we do know that's why we don't have kids. And I just came to say that's how I feel. Like it's a big job being a parent, That's 24/7 type job, and I'm not ready to undertake that yet. So for those who have taken that brave step and who are parents, love it for you, but do it right. Do you know what I mean? Like actually give a fuck, like be present.
Yeah.
Or,
And I think that's the least. I'm not going to judge a mum because she gave her kids oven chips.
absolutely not. Give them oven chips, fam.
I'm not
no
going
one
to
died
judge
from
a
oven
mum.
chips.
I'm not going to judge a mum because I saw her kid dressed crazy, because I know that you probably had a fight that morning and the child decided this was what they were going to wear.
I'm not going to judge a mum because she wants to go for brunch with the girls or she wants to go on a holiday and spend some time by herself. I'm not going to judge her if she sits in the car for 20 minutes after and screams. Do you, sis?
I'm not even going to judge you if you don't make reading time every night in the evening. But I am going to judge you. The barest minimum as a parent you should be is to not neglect your child and to be present. And that presence doesn't mean that every day you give 100%. You can't give 100% to your relationships when you're married or you're in a relationship or even your friendships. But it means that over the span of the course of the year, there were years, like when I look at my childhood, I don't know how she did it. I don't know how they did it. But my mum used to work. Like, her journey to work was hours. So she would leave the house at she'd be out of the house by 5:30. She wouldn't come back till 8. And I used to complain, oh, mummy, Sally's mum comes on school trips. Mummy, Sally's mum makes fresh food for her. I remember the day my mum packed beans for me to take to school. I was so embarrassed. I hated her. Those things. But when I look over yes, there were times she didn't make every school play. She didn't make all the school trips. She didn't used to do drop off. But when I look at the trajectory of my whole life, my parents were present. If I add everything up together, there weren't huge things that were going on with me that they didn't pick up on. They may not have picked up on the day it happened, but eventually they were aware, they were there. And that is what, for me, that's good parenting. It doesn't mean that every day you can give 100% but it just means that generally, as a rule of thumb, you're present, you're aware, you have a vested interest in what's going on in your kid. You cannot just leave a child and think, oh, they're going to figure it out. Because they actually aren't going to figure it out. You need to be aware of what's going on in your kid's life.
Yeah, you're a parent, you're a guardian, you're meant to guide them.
Yeah, and however you do that, whether you choose to be the authoritative parent that sits over them as they do everything, or you choose to be more of a friend, one way or another, you need to know what's going on with your kid, and you need to pick up on red flags, because it's crazy. It is your fault. It absolutely is your fault. Because the thing is that you didn't do everything you could have done. If you told me you took him to therapy, you did this, you did that, and he still did this, boy, it's not
as if they were saying, oh, you guys are guilty, you go to jail, Ethan can be free. They're still very much holding him accountable for what he did, but saying, actually, you were an accessory, babe, you contributed to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's time for
the real crime, I think, was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Mine have both been said, but I'm going to say them again. The real crime, I think, is, as Florence mentioned, so they took photos of the house, as it was the day that everything happened, It's extremely messy. And not just that it's messy, but Ethan had 2 bedrooms. One bedroom got so messy that he moved to the second bedroom, which also became extremely messy. As in, instead of cleaning the one room that you had, you migrated to another one and then just continued with the mess.
This is just top tier negligence. This is what I'm saying.
It's they didn't raise him, they gave up. Maybe he put up a fight a couple of times, maybe he was a bit rude or a bit resistant or whatever, and they thought, fuck it, I don't have time for this. You have to work with the kid. You have to keep going till it gets to a point where you understand me, I understand you, this is how things are going to run. That Ethan ran that household. I'm sure he bullied them to get him that gun.
He's the antichrist of Blue Ivy, because Blue Ivy definitely runs. That's Beyonce's manager. Yeah. She runs that household. When Beyonce didn't want to stand up, she's like, girl, can you get up? We worked for this. Go and get your award. I love that. But he's the antichrist. He's running that household in the wrong way. Bullying them, he's bullying them. What's yours? Mine was actually the Facebook messages, because they basically go through the Facebook messages between Jennifer and James, and it documents their whole relationship, breakup, makeups, the sex. Apparently they were having crazy sexual conversations, and I was just this is so weird, because you guys live in the same household, and even if you don't, you have phones.
It was weird. I was kind of
why are you on me? You know that thing they say that, when you live with your partner or you're married, the messages on the phone become so unsexy. Mm-hmm. That is me and my husband, because we don't need to say anything crazy to each other on WhatsApp or on text. We live together. Tell me when you see me, bro. Yeah. The messages, can you buy egg? Can you check if there's palm oil? Can you, I'm constipated. Have you pooped today? There's nothing. You're not going to get anything.
Yeah, that's why I thought the message was with her and her mistress.
I thought it was with her and her
but it's
thing.
not.
Like, what do
Yeah,
you
it was
mean?
like-
It's you and
that was
your
weird.
actual
Yeah, that was
husband.
very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, next we are doing Devil in the Family, The Fall of Ruby Frankie. It's on
With a special guest.
yeah, we have a guest. It's on Disney Plus. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And yes, we
We
have
do.
a guest. Hee.
Surprise,
So yeah, I'll
surprise.
put the trailer for that at the end. Until then, you can find us everywhere. 2 Girls 1 Doc, 2 Girls 1 Doc podcast on TikTok, 2girls1doc@gmail.com if you want to send us an email. Yeah, follow, like, do all the things. Subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. Subscribe.
Yeah.
And yeah, anything you'd like to say?
Okay. No, just look after your kids.
Look after your kids and try a Beedie Applerita Spritz. That's it. Love it.
You need to post the recipe then.
I already told them. We should take heed. Take heed it.
Okay.
Take heed
Okay.
of. Okay, one more time for the recipe. Apple juice, just a bit. Yeah, just let your ancestors tell you when to stop. A splash of the Costco Margarita mix, and then top it up with lemonade.
Do you know what?
2 of your 5 a day.
I might try it, but I might top it up with
Prosecco.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Prosecco.
Or,
don't like sweet things.
Okay. Or this is Billeen.
Good.
Or
Did you not say
what's
Billeen
that?
works?
Slimline water.
Yeah, like sparkling water.
Tonic water.
Yeah, do that if you want to not enjoy it. But yeah, cool. All right. Turn this camera off. Turn this TV off. Turn this TV off.
All right. Bye.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door. He's got duct taped around each ankle. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Miss Frankie, how do you plead to count 1, child abuse,
Guilty.
to count 3, child abuse?
With my deepest regret and sorrow for my family and my children. Guilty.
What Ruby has done, it just crossed a line of abusive to just psychotic.
My wife, Ruby's sole ambition was to be seen as the perfect mom. And so she decided to create a YouTube channel. And we became 8 passengers.
Thumbs up, subscribe. Our entire schedule revolved around YouTube. It felt more like a set than a house.
She just wanted to show the view of a Mormon happy family. But they only saw what we wanted to show them.
Sit her down on the flipping couch. Okay, move it. If I hear one more word, get out.
The devil knocked, and we opened the door.
Welcome to Connections. I'm Jody Hildebrand.
Jody was a therapist, and she would prey on the weak. She was excellent at exploiting Mormon anxiety.
Jody began to live at our home. It was uncomfortably intimate. Weird things started happening. Ruby said the children were demonically possessed. That was the spark that blew the powder keg.
911 emergency. Hi, my name is Sherry Frankie, and my neighbors have been telling me that my 4 younger siblings have been left home alone for about 4 or 5 days.
Open the door!
It was unlike anything I've ever seen.
It's like a ghost story.
I'm still recording! I'm worried about the kids.
Why didn't you stand up to say, this is nonsense? If I dwell on that question, it eats me alive.
Fake being happy. Okay?
I don't know if I can right now.